Well, what's going on, guys? So, today we have the darkest manipulation tactics that women use to control you. And I've never seen this woman's channel, I believe. I don't think I've ever seen her before. Just popped up on my feed. The title sounds interesting because I never knew women could manipulate. What? Women manipulating dark tactics to control you? What kind of women are these? I've never heard of them. Let's see.
Hi guys. Women have very dark manipulation tactics they use to control you, and you're probably
Really?
not even aware of it. It's always painted that men are so deceptive, lying, and manipulative, not caring about who they hurt along the way. But women are masters of psychology, and a lot of them use these 6 tactics I'm about to share with you. 1. Withdrawal. Women know how to have you worried, blaming yourself, etc., all while they're all smiles watching you wonder what the hell you even did wrong. Guys have almost been programmed to believe that if their lady is keeping to herself, then something must be wrong. Your brain automatically goes into panic mode and you start thinking if you missed her birthday or anniversary, or if it's something else that you forgot or something that you did wrong. Now the next thing you know that you're trying to make up for something that you didn't even do to begin with. Women do this to try to keep you on your toes. It's a way to make sure that you don't get too comfortable and start taking her for granted. It's a scare tactic to have you constantly thinking about her and start panicking because you feel that you might be losing her. Number 2 is mirroring. Mirroring is when someone copies the characteristics and traits of someone else. This could be through body language. This could be through verbal and physical habits, attitudes, tendencies.
Before we go on to mirroring, fellas, I didn't really want to dive into that one because there's not much to be said. It's like, yeah, she pulls back or whatever. But let me go ahead and, give a couple pointers for those guys who do experience this, right? Because I'm not dealing with no woman who's pulling back on purpose as manipulation tactics, right? But for the fellas who do, you shouldn't deal with that. But let's just say you do. Let's just say your woman acts up for some reason and she pulls back, tries to manipulate you, right? I don't know how women don't manipulate, right? This is news to me. Okay? So, if she pulls back, right? What most guys will do is they'll go running after, oh babe, what's going on? Hey babe, hello, hey, calling her, right? You pull back, motherfucker. You pull back. That way, someone's got to give in to the other person, right? When you hold your ground, when a woman pulls back and you pull back, she starts to feel dumb, right? If in her mind she's over here trying to play these mind games on you, and it's not that she's out there cheating on you or something, right? If she's just doing this to manipulate you and you pull back, right? Because she's been listening to all this sprinkle advice and shit, and you pull back, someone's got to give in, right? The weaker one is always going to give in. So either it's you, the weak man, who gives in to her pulling back, or it's you, or it's her, right? You pull back and she has to give in. And when you stand your ground and you hold your ground and you don't give in to her little power plays, guess what? You remain in control. You remain the one who has the power. By you standing your ground and living life, right? Let's just say she pulls back. Great. Now I have more time to do whatever it is that I need to do. Now I have more time to work. Now I have more time to read a book. Now I have more time to study. Now I have more time to hang out with my friends. Whatever the case may be, right? When you have that mindset, you're not worried about her pulling back, right? Now, if your woman is pulling back too much, that's not a really good sign. That might mean that she's found someone else and she's out there doing shit on the side, right? But like I said, we're talking about the manipulation tactic. If a woman pulls back as a manipulation tactic, you continue on with your day as if, this is from the point of view that this is a woman you're dating, right? Not a woman who you're in a relationship with, right? Because if you have a girlfriend and she's pulling back, it's not a very good sign. You should probably not be exclusive to her, right? You should probably have other women other than just her, okay? Because she's probably doing something else, right? So you should probably get rid of that relationship altogether. But if you're dating a woman and she's doing this to try to get you attached, you continue on with your life. You continue doing what you're doing, right? And if she likes you enough, if she thinks you're attractive, if she thinks you're sexy, maybe you fucked her, right? Whatever the case may be. And I need to calm down with all the F words, right? Because I just got the first step of monetization on YouTube. So the next step is to, put ads and all that shit. So I need to chill. But basically what I'm saying is if you're dating a woman, right? And she likes you enough and she's trying to play these tactics and you pull back, guess what? She's going to start thinking, what is he doing? Does he not find me attractive? Is he out there fucking another woman? Is he out there sleeping with other women, right? Is he out there dating other women? Am I not the only one? What's going on, right? She starts to think, and she actually grows more attached to you because you pulled back. And now, after she was trying to play this little game, now she's getting attached to you because she's thinking about you. And she can't get you off her mind. In order to get a woman attached, the reason why you guys never experienced this to where you can't get a woman attached or you can't get a woman to fall in love with you is because you can't get her to think about you. You're boring. You're too predictable, right? When you're very predictable, guess what? When a woman knows your every move and what you're gonna do and what you're thinking, and she just has you figured out, guess what? We don't think about things that we have figured out. We think about things that we don't have the answer to, right? So when you pull back and she's here wondering what's going on, you're on her mind. She doesn't have you figured out. She's trying to figure it out. So you're renting space in her mind, right? She's thinking about you. She's like, what is going on? And the more that she thinks about you, the more involved she gets, the more attached she gets. And sooner or later, she'll look up and say, oh shit, I'm in love with this guy, right? And she didn't even realize that she was trying to play all these games. But at the end of the day, you don't care about that, right? You're not going to sit here and try to decipher why a woman's pulling back. Why is she pulling back? What is she doing? No. If you and a woman are dating and she's doing that, you continue on with your life. And guess what? She'll be the one thinking about you.
Etc. I have a separate video on mirroring that goes in further detail, but basically they evaluate what you need in a relationship so they can pose as a perfect match for you. The problem is that it's never truly genuine. It's a tactic they use to bring your guards down in order to easier fulfill whatever agenda they have. Number 3 is guilt.
And that is in The Art of Seduction, right? I've been reading that book lately. I've had it for a long time, but I've never really dived deep into it. But Robert really knows what he's talking about in that book. Because a lot of the shit that I see in there, it's like, I've already known this, but he really goes in depth on it, right? And I like the way he explains stuff. But mirroring, right? This is why when you first start dating a woman, you should never say, I'm looking for this in a woman. And I don't like this in a woman, right? If a woman does this, I think she's a hoe. If a woman has a body count of over 5, she's a hoe. If a woman does this and that, I don't like that, right? Because now she sees that you are being judgmental. And if she likes you and she wants to get a relationship out of you, she's going to take all that information and make your perception see her as something that she's not. Like, for example, if you say, if a woman has more than 5 bodies, I would never take her seriously. And let's just say she finds you attractive. Let's just say she wants to lock you down. Maybe you have money. Maybe you have status, right? Maybe you're just super charismatic and other women want you and she wants to be the one to lock you down. Now that you've said all of this, what does she say? Mirroring, right? That's the term that she's using. But she's going to now tell you, yeah, I've only had 2 partners. I've only had, 1 partner. I've only had 3 partners. But in reality, it's not true. But she's using that information against you to warp your perception so that you think that, okay, this woman is the type of woman that I'm looking for. Next thing you know, you're involved with a woman who you think is a certain way, but then eventually you catch her with the whole football team, right? And you're like, whoa, what's going on? I didn't know this. Yeah, dummy, because you told her everything that you were looking for in a woman, as opposed to, like I always say, giving a woman rope, right? This is a good example. Just give a woman the rope, and whatever she decides to do with the rope, if she decides to make a noose and hang herself with it, that's on her, right? Meaning, what I mean by that is you let a woman talk. You come in it with a non-judgmental standpoint to where you're getting to know her and who she truly is, right? Even if in your mind, you're taking notes and you're like, okay, right? That's how you got to be with a woman, right? In your mind, you got to be like, okay, I see what type of woman this is, right? And then you can strategize and you can make your game plan to where you're going to take this, whether you're going to take her seriously, whether she's just going to be a fuck buddy, whatever the case may be. But you figure her out based on how she acts. be like, oh, okay, I see what type of woman this is, right? And you take mental notes. You don't talk about it, right? You always take mental notes. You never want to tell a woman straight up what you think about her. You never want to tell her, oh, okay, yeah, I don't believe that, or I think you're lying about this, or, I don't like the fact that you've had 25,000 partners. Like, you don't want to do that, right? You want to take mental notes and then move forward. It's the same thing in negotiation, right? That's the reason why people in sales, car salesmen or whatever, you go into a car sales place, right? And they'll ask you questions. They're trying to gather information to see how they're going to handle you, how they're going to deal with you, how they're going to strategize to get what they want out of you. So take mental notes. Don't immediately say, I don't like this in a woman, okay? Because then she will, what did she say? Mirror you.
A woman knows that there's a heavy responsibility to fulfill whatever it is that it's never truly genuine. It's a tactic they use to bring your guards down in order to easier fulfill whatever agenda they have. Number 3 is guilt. A woman knows that there's a heavy responsibility on men to ensure that their woman is happy and well taken care of. She plays on that to get what she wants, or
she'll start crying, faking them tears, right?
when she wants to get your emotions under her control. Guilt tripping you almost immediately changes any situation to work in her favor. Do you know how many men know something is off in their relationship? The signs are there that she's being unfaithful, but she throws a tantrum, or she turns on waterworks, or she blames the man for being insecure or controlling. And what does the man do? He starts questioning if he's tripping or if he's thinking too deep about obvious signs that he's seeing. Then he's apologizing to her to make her feel better when she knows that he was right all along. Number 4 is the hot and cold method.
Right, I've had this happen to me, right? Back in the day, a woman will sit there and cry and cry and cry, and then eventually you find out that bitch is lying. So that's why I don't believe a woman when she cries, right? If a woman is crying about something that, if a woman has nothing to gain from crying, then sure, I'll believe her. It's like she's sad about something that she's going through in her day. Someone called her a fat, ugly bitch. Hey, you're not going to be my girlfriend, but listen, I understand, right? You have something genuinely wrong with you. But let's just say you're in an argument with a woman and she starts crying. You see a red flag and you say something and she starts letting the tears go out. 9 times out of 10, she's doing that to manipulate you. She's not genuinely crying about whatever it is, right? Because women know from a very young age, guess what? They want something, their dad says no, and so what do? They start crying. And then what do? The dad says, okay, come here. I don't want to see my little girl crying, so here, you can have the lollipop. I'll buy it for you, okay? And from a very young age, women know how to play on men's emotions. So that's why as a man, you got to deal with these women logically, not from a standpoint of emotions, right? Because emotions can be manipulated. They can be used to manipulate you, right? If you're emotional, someone can say something that will affect you on an emotional level to get you to act in a way that you wouldn't if you were thinking logically, right? If you were thinking logically, you'd say, that doesn't make sense. 1 + 1 is 2. But when you feel things, right? You could say 1 + 1 is 2. But someone says something otherwise and they make you feel as though 1 + 1 is 4. Guess what? Now you're thinking emotional. Now you're not rational. Now you're not logical. So now, well, that does make sense. I do feel like 1 + 1 is 4, even though logically it doesn't make sense. On paper, it doesn't make sense. If you were to ask someone who's thinking logically, does this make sense? They'd say no, but you feel that way, right? And this is why women are a lot easier to manipulate than a man who's logical, right? This is why in sales, it's a lot easier to persuade women than it is to persuade men, right? You have to be a good salesman to sell men, right? To persuade a man. Because as men, we're more logical. Especially if you're going door to door, especially if you're cold calling. It's like, men are like, who the fuck is this guy? Oh, he's trying to sell me something, right? But a woman, you know how to persuade her, right? Guess what? You can get her number. You can get her to buy something. You could do whatever it is because 9 times out of 10, they're more emotional.
method. This is a staple in the manipulation playbook. She showers you with affection and attention, making you feel comfortable and attached to her. Then she catches you off guard with a disappearing act. Going ghost, conversation seem dry, her demeanor starts to give off very much cold shoulder vibes. That's when those answers start sounding like this. I'm fine. Okay, nothing. Yeah, I'm busy. Talk to you later. You don't realize it, but she's getting you hooked. Now you're sitting there like an addict, messaging, asking what's wrong. You want to see her, buying gifts to try to fix whatever you think is happening in an effort to get her attention and affection again. Number 5, the power of suggestion. This is a very covert effort. Addict, message, I'm busy. Talk to you later. You don't realize it, but she's getting you hooked. Now you're sitting there like an addict, messaging, asking what's wrong. You want to see her, buying gifts to try to fix whatever you think is happening in an effort to get her attention and affection again.
Yeah, in the Art of Seduction, I like that passage where he talks about you got to give the pursuer space to fall, right? Because if you're constantly on somebody, right? Especially when you're dating a woman at first, right? At first, if you're dating a woman, this is a dark manipulation tactic that fellas, don't do this, right? You don't want to be an evil man. You don't want to manipulate a woman, right? This would be a terrible thing to do. If you wanted to get a woman attached, this is just something you shouldn't do, right? And women use this too, right? Giving her a great experience. Giving her an experience she's never had. Making her be like, wow, this is amazing, right? And then slowly pulling away. That's what she's describing, right? Because when you and a woman first have an encounter, right? Or a woman and a man, right? You guys are like this. You guys have just met. And if you guys are like this, she can't fall in love with you, right? Because you guys are always together. She has no space to think about you. You're too on top of her, right? And this is why women don't like a man who is way too in love with her. They say they want that, but in reality, the moment you get way too in love with her, you're always on her ass. You're like, where are you at? What are you doing? FaceTiming her, calling her, texting her. And she has no space to sit there and think about you, right? Because in seduction, what you need to understand is what a person thinks or makes up about you in their mind is more important than reality, okay? Of course, you want to be a man that she respects. Of course, you want to be the type of man who is as great as you say you are. But in reality, in seduction, guess what? What that woman starts to make up in her mind about you is more important. Right? And it's the same thing when a woman is doing it with a man. That's how men will fall in love with a hoe or with a slut. Because she's getting him hooked, like she said, because she's giving him space. And in his mind, he's starting to create an image of her that she's greater than she actually is. And that's how she seduces him, right? So as a man, it's the same thing. You need to give a woman space, right? So at first, you go on a date with her, you give her a great experience, and then you start creating a little bit of distance, right? So she has space to fall for you by creating that distance, by creating that space to where now she has time to think about you. She's been away from you for a good enough amount of time to where she starts to think things, think about you, miss you, think about all the great qualities about you. Think about what you might be doing in that moment. Are you talking to other women, right? So this will get her hooked, and it's what she's talking about how women do that to you. They act distant, they act cold, and now you start to fall for her.
Number 5, the power of suggestion. This is a very covert trap. Have you ever been with a woman and she conveniently sticks into the conversation about this shoe that she saw or this dress that she saw online and loved? Or if y'all are together and she sees something that she likes and she says things like, I would love it if a man did something like that for me. Or I've never had a man buy me anything like that. What she's doing is subconsciously putting actions into your head. She's not directly telling you to buy it or do certain things for her, while at the same time influencing you to want to do these things for her. Number 6 is love bombing. Now, this is probably one of the most strategic and darkest ones. It comes in waves, a process that sucks you in and controls you just the way she likes it. It involves hyping you up, compliments, affection, the whole nine. She's going to make you feel like you're the perfect match, like you're special. They shower you with all this love and attention in an attempt to influence you. This is how love bombing looks. Day 1, you're so handsome. Day 2, oh my God, we have so much in common. Day 3, I don't usually...
And then eventually she pulls back.
...fall for someone this fast. Day 4, I just feel like we're meant to be together. Day 5, I love you. By the end of this process, you're falling hard, and she's got you exactly where she wants you, fully invested in her and extremely vulnerable. Be extremely careful out here, guys. There's a lot of women out to do you dirty and manipulate you for personal gain because they believe that's all men are good for anyway. When you spot these manipulation tactics, call them out on it. Better yet, leave, because no good comes from a woman who practices these tactics.
And, you know, I know men do this as well, right? A lot of guys will, sit there and try to love bomb a woman that they just met. But the problem with that is it works if she's really attracted to you. But if she's not that attracted to you and she's not that interested in you, right? And you start love bombing her, the problem with women is that they get it all the time. They get free attention from everywhere. They have guys calling them pretty everywhere. They have guys fall in love with them everywhere. So that love bombing is not going to work the same as a woman doing it on a man, right? Because a man, let's just say you haven't dated too many fine ass chicks, right? And you finally get one. You finally get a chick that you don't think you're good enough for, right? You don't usually get this attention. And now she starts treating you that way. Oh yeah, she's going to get you hooked. So you need to be aware of this. And that's why you as a man have to become the type of man to where you have options. You have the ability to get other women. You have women looking at you. You have women attracted to you. You have women who think you're sexy, right? Because when you understand that you can get other women and you do get that attention, guess what? When a woman love bombs you, it's not going to be like, okay, right? Because that's the same reason why it doesn't work that much on women. It works on women when maybe they caught you doing something, right? They caught you doing something dirty or fucked up, right? And then men will love bomb the woman. Why? Because women are more emotional, so they will turn off their logic and they will feel something. They'll say, "Damn, you know, I feel this way," right? So that's why I always suggest to men, never be emotional, right? We're emotional beings, but you need to be able to learn how to detach yourself and control your emotions, right? You need to be able to control your emotions and filter them through a filter of logic and rational thinking, okay? You're a human. You're going to feel emotions, right? But you have to learn how to master the art of detachment, right? To where you can detach from an emotion that you're feeling in order to benefit your life in a better way, because logically it makes sense to do whatever it is that you want to do. All right, guys, that's the video for today. Like the video, comment down below, and subscribe. Peace out.